So you're thinking that this favours Cleve, but I don't think Cleve's in the greatest of form. Played an exhibition match last night. Didn't look like he was particularly comfortable in the environment at the table. So, and he hasn't had a huge amount of success with Ultimate Pool USA as of yet. So, question where this one lies. I mean, what's your take on it straight away, Stephen?
Cleve's an interesting duck because here's the thing. Our very first event, our very first match, he put on the most exciting match I think we've seen with him and Tyler Steyer.
Up there. So the top 3 or 4, yeah, for sure.
He hasn't had much success since then. In fact...
Well, he ultimately lost that match in the 6-ball shootout as well, of course. The drama was there. He played brilliantly, as did Tyler, but ultimately lost it because of in a 6-ball like we've just seen.
Yeah, and he's cashed in the Open. He has not made it very far into that payout structure. So it's interesting for me because this is his chance to turn it around. This is his chance. He's got not as tough of a draw as he's had maybe in the priors.
I think this is the first shootout match he's played where he'll start as favourite.
Yeah, and he's got to take advantage of that,
yes.
And he's got to show a little bit of that prowess that he showed against Tyler, show a little bit of that prowess that he showed against some of the other champion players. He needs to bring it, and he probably needs to do it pretty quickly. I think Cleve's one of those guys that really thrives off being in the lead.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to do it quickly. So a win in rack 1 and then a steal in rack 2, that will put him in a great mindset.
He's in a tough spot here, though, in rack 1. He's just got himself into a mess early.
Yeah, I don't know what the shot is here.
I mean,
he's got to take the 12.
He has to take the 12, but it's hard to get good on the 14. And he tried to do a lot there. He tried to do an awful lot there because if he plays the natural, which I thought he had to do really, because it just added too much to the tariff. So, but if he played the natural, then he was going to leave a bad spot on the 14.
Well, not only has he missed it badly, but he's missed it so bad that it's put Kaden in a shot to move the 7-ball, which may have been his only real big issue. I didn't think Kaden would go for this ball first. I thought he had a good shot at it, but he's come out even better. This is a real chance for Kaden to take the first rack. Just has a little bit to work through. And Kaden, no stranger to the arena. Like we touched on, he's been in several finals. Has an Ultimate Pool USA trophy, one of which only less than a dozen people have. And he's come up a little far on this one. He would have liked to have had a little bit better of an angle on the 1-ball. Played a good shot. The 7-balls ended up in probably the worst spot it could have, right there on the end rail. Our beautiful Brunswick table here. This is going to make it tricky.
Doesn't want to land straight in here. And he's got a touch of angle, enough to work with.
Yeah, I think he can. Yeah, I think we might see him kind of fire at this ball a little bit to try and force a little bit more angle. Yeah, he's looking at firing, coming mid-table, and then going 2-rail shape for the 8-ball if he gets all that. Nice little shot there. He's in a good position. And this is a worst-case scenario for Cleve Thompson. Really wanted to get this first rack.
big let off this for Cleve Thompson, who we've talked about maybe as a slightly fragile on the confidence side. So getting away with an error in rack 1, which he will if he can get rid of this 8-ball, could really allow him to sort of ease into the match. And we talked about the fact as he does deposit the 8-ball, the cue ball's not in the side.
Just needs a solid break. And he's made balls. He's got it. There's a little bit of a tricky situation in the middle of the table there.
Do you think he's on the 7 straight away? If he's on the 7, I like the solids.
I don't think the 7 will go on the side. I think it's too thin.
I'm with you. And therefore you probably are looking at the stripes here. Maybe you have a good opener though.
The 13 ball, maybe. This is tough.
15 through the gap.
That's what he did.
Excellent shot. Excellent shot. 14 goes top left, doesn't it? And that opens up the other 2. So one more good shot. Next shot then after that becomes key, but he's got to get the good position here, and then he can unlock this frame.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful layup shot to get to that 14 ball. He's going to move a little too far. This is not good.
He can recover.
Can he see cleanly to the 13?
I think so. He can see the 13 slide across the table. I don't think it's worth the risk to try and get the perfect angle. Just leave yourself with an angle that you can then just might have to play a little bump shot, but that's probably the safer way of playing it, and that's what he's done this time.
And that's really a great shot because so many players will overdo that shot. They'll try and just get too much, and sometimes you just got to take your medicine, shoot the ball, maybe not have the best shot, and work it out from there. And that was just not a great layout afterwards. He didn't get the bump that he wanted.
I don't think he's got anywhere to go. I don't see any aggressive play here.
That might have been worst case scenario with how that could have ended up.
What's he got for us? He's seen something.
He's not going to try and combo. Oh, wow.
I'm trying to play it in off the 8 in the side.
That's always scary.
Yeah. So 2 chances in the match for Kaden that haven't quite panned out for him. He's off to a slow start. Of course, we've talked a little bit about Cleve so far in the match in terms of where he's at, but you know, Kaden comes in with the confidence of being the junior champion and junior runner-up. But let's not forget, this is his first taste of shootout pool. This is a step up in terms of, you know, he's up with the top players now.
Oh wow, very, very tough miss there for Cleve. He's probably a 90% favorite to make that every time, and
should be, just as an ultimate pool professional, that should be a 99.9% shot. Really,
yeah.
That may be the worst shot we see miss all day. That's incredible. I think that's why Cleve was very slow to get back to his chair.
Oh, and just to touch back on what we were talking about a little bit on Kaden. So Kaden is going to be confident. I think he feels confident in this format. We also have to remember the last time we saw him in an Ultimate Pool Arena, he took a very tough loss to Sophia Mast in that 6-ball shootout. So the last time he was here, he was not all that uppity, and he wasn't too happy with how he performed in that. So this might be a little bit of a revenge match for Kaden.
Yeah, and also mentioning Sophia, she's scheduled to play later on today in the women's event. I can tell you she won't be here in time. She's making waves in the Women's World Championships over in Puerto Rico, and she's not going to be here in time. She may well still get here for the mixed pairs tomorrow, playing with Sam Henderson, but everyone here with Ultimate Pool USA hopes we don't get to see her. We all wish her well.
Yeah, in a perfect world, she wins the World Championships and then somehow magically appears in front of us, but we know that's not possible.
Yeah.
So to see her do well in any format is something I appreciate.
Yeah, well, he
Not
does,
yet.
He does do plenty of coaching and mental management and all that sort of stuff, and you know, he's got to kind of show some of that himself here. Definitely, just sense he's down on the confidence levels coming in. So find some positivity.
Yeah, I think he mentioned he's playing with some new equipment, and so all those little things can really mess with that mental game. He's going to have to dig into that a little bit and come out ahead here. This is a really bad situation at the top of the table. I don't see anything feasible.
This is where you just turn the table over and ask your opponent to have a little dip at these, which is what Cleve has done.
He did it in a good manner too. I think he did have a shot on the 3-ball, but there was no payoff for making it, so force Kaden to come to the table is a very smart move. Experience will definitely be on Cleve's side in this match. Kaden, very young player, hasn't been playing for a lot of time at all, but very respected player in his community and has a pretty big fan base as well.
Pretty easy safety for Kaden, really.
Yeah, and he's kind of put Cleve on the gun here because this is a little bit tougher to do to keep your opponent from being able to see anything.
It's going to kill a lot of clock here. We're already, we're now 11 and a half minutes into the match.
Well, and I can honestly say that if there's one thing that Cleve Thompson is very, very confident in, whether he does well in it or not, he's confident in his 6-ball shootout. So,
I mean, what you're thinking, we're making a 18 and a half minute run to the 6-ball here, the finish 1-1? I mean, would be something.
I've heard of it happening.
Well, the longest frame I've ever commentated on, in the longest frame with Ultimate Pool has been 22 and a half minutes. But I think I've only done, in 4 years, done maybe 3 or 4 frames that have lasted more than 10. So it would be a major surprise.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have anything quite that crazy, but you're right, it does kill the clock, and any time that there's not a winner by 6 games, there's always a chance for that 6-ball shootout to be in play. So, like we saw in the last match, it's kind of crazy. These matches can flip like a light switch. We thought Ricky Evans had it in the bag.
He did,
and all of a sudden,
it's going to be a tough one for Ricky to take. Let's be honest. Yeah. He knows he should have won it in real time, and he had it well within his capabilities in the 6-ball as well. It's going to be a tough loss for Ricky to take.
Yeah, unfortunately, this might be. It's going to be a tough loss for either one of these players because this is not going the way I expected it to. I really did expect to see quite a few clearances.
Well, the safety battle is over. Cleve has decided it's time to make a run at it, and let's be honest, that shot's opened everything up.
Yeah, he played it really well. His only real issue is that 5-ball because I don't think it goes cleanly past the 12, but it may.
I was working on an assumption that it did, in which case this layout is, well, it's one he should take.
Well, if it goes, then he's definitely favorite to run out 100%. If it doesn't go, then we have a whole another issue at hand.
Come a little bit too far for me. Assuming that it does go, then to me you want to clear the 1 and use the 5 to come down for the 8, unless the 8 goes to the bottom right corner. If the 8 goes bottom right corner, then this is a good way. But even if it doesn't, you come across it. I mean, it works. To be honest, just don't. If he has to come to bottom left corner, you just don't leave it straight, basically.
Well, if Cleve's taking this on, then it definitely goes.
Yeah, it goes. So he's got plenty of angle to come across this. So actually leaving the 1 was absolutely the right way to go, and it goes both ways. But he can stun across it anyway.
That's a great shot.
A bit more like it, this from Cleve. That was excellent. The shot to open up was good, and then the pattern afterwards been flawless.
And this could be the fire that starts Cleve Thompson on his run because he has all the ability.
Oh, no.
Oh, and that's unfortunate there.
Horrible kick. And what is bad news for Kaden is great news for Cleve Thompson, who now has an opportunity, and it's a golden opportunity here, to go back to back and get himself 2 in front.
Yeah, putting himself in a position to take control of the entire match.
Just got to be careful here, making sure the cue ball stays in the kitchen. You know what, I wouldn't be too bothered about playing the 4. I would be happy enough with that being my final ball and take the 8 ball down the table. But he's looks like he's keen to get it out of the way, which it does make the pattern just that touch easier. But it looked a little bit tight to get the angle he needed and keep the cue ball in the kitchen, but he had just enough room.
Yeah, for me, that was a scary shot, especially playing all ball fouls, leaning over the table and moving it from the other side. It made me wince a little bit, but
I think the big difference there, I've had this conversation with a lot of American players now, is that the all ball fouls, which obviously, for Cleve, he's grown up playing pool knowing that exists, so it's never going to be an issue for Cleve. Where, for players that are experiencing that for the first time, a lot of league players are experiencing it for the first time, it does take an adjustment.
Yeah, and you'll see it with the guys who play all ball fouls all the time. Obviously, Tom, Shane Thompson, Cleve Thompson, they all address the ball in a manner in which they know exactly where their body is, where their hands are, whereas we don't play those rules as often, and you'll see people kind of get all willy-nilly when they get down, and it can be costly.
Cleve's made an interesting decision here. Obviously, we talked about the fact that Cleve was on what pool professional, playing English pool. He's made the decision to take the 6 ball in the side, whereas I think he could have just topped through and taken it in the corner. And then in the end, he changed his mind and went for it in the corner. But if you're going to go for it in the corner, previously it'd be perfect just to top through, just roll through a little bit, follow, leave an angle, and then come back across. And he's kind of got his pattern in a mess there because of kind of conflicted kind of, the pattern would have been made sense if you were playing English pool.
Yeah, and this is something that Cleve doesn't like banking very much. I've had these conversations, and that was a very risky shot. It's going to pay off. That was a great shot.
Wow.
But it was very risky.
How on earth has that happened? Cleve Thompson, you have got very fortunate there, but let's credit him with a great bank. But how's that cue ball done what it's done there? I hope we get to see that again. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that was scary.
Have a look at this. Half an eye on the cue ball for me. It just lands perfect. But let's be honest, he's still won the rack, and he is 2 clear now, so can't be too harsh on someone that actually has won the rack.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key there. We can criticize his pattern, but he won the rack, so it doesn't really matter.
For a big guy, that was quite a timid break, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's something I think he's told me that he's kind of struggled with, trying to find the right cue, find the right break spot. I don't think he's quite got it figured out, but of course I don't know if anybody's got it figured out yet. We saw Tom struggle with the break. We saw both Ricky and Sam struggle with it. I think it may take a few more matches on this table to really get the break figured out, which makes this an even crazier situation in the shootout because, a lot of people depend on their break in an 8-ball game.
Yeah.
And if it's not working for you, it can spell disaster.
Big visit to the table this for Kaden. It's going to be the final visit, you feel, at the 30 seconds before we go to the 15. And he does have a tricky layout on the solids. I really like the stripes here. I don't know if he could have had an option there, but he's got 2 tight walls, and that's dealt with one of them.
And we know historically Kaden is not a big fan of the 15-second shot clock. He's a little bit more of a methodical player. He likes to plan his routes out. Cleve, of course, has the experience, but also not the best under the gun. So we may be in for a real treat when we get to that 15-second shot clock. Things could get crazy.
Kaden's in trouble here. He's landed 2 straight in on the ball in the side. You can connect to the next ball, but then you're leaving a bad angle to then get out. So tries to do too much, and that forces the miss.
Well, and this plays into Cleve being able to control the table and the match clock. And Cleve's going to take all of that final 30-second shot. And Mr. Thompson looking good here. He had a little bit of a confidence boost on that bank shot. It's going to put him in a decent position to take this rack out. Just can't have any silly errors. He set up really well. I'm not sure why he's taking the 11 ball here. I like the 13 to the 15 to the 11, but it's gotten tough.
Yeah, he just gets his patterns in a mess. I think he's so conflicted with his patterns, changing games, and once again he's in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure he even saw it. Really just a stop shot from the 13 to the 15. Well, and we're going to be in for another interesting finish here because Cleve does not have a straight-in shot on that 15 ball. I believe he can either cross the 15 or play it up top. The easier shot is up top. He's fired it into the hole. This is really a good play here from Cleve because he didn't have to get out there, but he's gonna do it, and he's gonna take a commanding 4-1 lead. He's gonna take his time here, let the clock run a little bit. We'll be right around the 7.5 minutes left mark in the match, so Kaden Herrbach is gonna be under the gun to make the comeback on Cleve Thompson. This is a big moment. The golden break is in play. Just have to watch it. Oh. That's so unfortunate. Such an unfortunate scratch there from Kaden. Would have had a great break and a big layout, but the cue ball just flies in.
All going Cleve Thompson's way now following that little bit of fortune he had a couple of racks ago. And we might see just that little bit more of a bounce in his step as we go towards the final moments of this match. He's not quite over the line yet, but he's looking good.
He looks far more composed than he has at any point in this match. Obviously the bank shot and then the tough cut shot last rack has really boosted his confidence. This is the Cleve Thompson that we saw in Louisiana. This is the Cleve Thompson that took Tyler Steyer to the limit.
Stepping up the pace, which could argue was maybe not the right thing when you're already 3 in front, and this is to go 4 in front. I guess he's feeling so comfortable out there. He's not too worried about the clock. He's in a great spot, so doesn't need to really manage it.
And he's very comfortable on the bar box table. He took one look at the table yesterday, and he said, "That's a nice table. I'm definitely going to play good on that table."
Love that.
I said, "Oh."
He's right. It's a lovely table.
So, and that's words from his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm going to play good on that table. And I feel like in any other scenario, you say that and you're playing Joe Prince, who has done so well over here in America. I feel like maybe they're a little high on their horse, but I can't disagree with Gary. I think it's going to be a crazy match, and I actually think somebody is going to come out and absolutely just play lights out.
Oh, it's an excellent shot from Cleve, who put himself in trouble with a poor positional shot, but gets himself back in prime position. And he's four stripes and an 8-ball away from winning this one. And then, wow, he's missed 2 balls in this match that are hard to believe.
After making some crazy shots, and then he misses a
what have we got? 457. Oh, Kaden's just hooked himself on the balls down the table. He's just trying to think through the potential here for a turnaround, but 4 racks from here and in this spot. Yeah, no, it's not going to be.
With the golden break in play, it's always a possibility, but even then, everything would have to go right and nothing could go wrong.
Yeah.
And then you still have to fade Cleve's break. Tough situation for Kaden. I think he knows it now that even if Cleve makes another mistake, I think Kaden knows that his chances of coming back in this are pretty slim.
Well, he has made a mistake here, though, hasn't he? How is he going to get across the table here?
I'm not sure he knows. I'm wrong. I'll flat out say it. I was wrong. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he played it pretty well if it goes past the 5, and I think it does.
Well, one way or another, he gets himself to the 8-ball. And this for a victory for Cleve Thompson in the shootout. And in it goes. Not the greatest of performances early on from Cleve, but once he got his tail up, once he got his momentum going, he started to find some form, and Cleve Thompson gets victory in the shootout.